Should you work for free as a freelancer? I've got a big fat no for that, but there are three exceptions, and I'm going to share with you in this episode what those exceptions are. Welcome back to the Freelancers Tea Break, the short and sweet podcast that you can enjoy whilst you're making a cuppa as a freelancer. And I often get asked by new freelancers, should I work for free? And generally, my blanket answer is no. You should not be working for free. Um, some people would say, what about spec work? Spec work is something I'll do a whole other episode on, but essentially it's where people ask you to prove your skills by working for free, whether it's as a writer doing a sample article, as a photographer doing a sample photo shoot, um, asking a coder to come in and do some kind of sample code. None of this is necessary. If you've got testimonials, if you've got um, a great website that displays, say, your video or your photography or your copy or your coding, none of it is necessary. So spec work is a big fat no for me unless it's paid. Um, Generally, I don't think you need to do anything. Like you wouldn't have someone apply for a job and they say, right, we want to see if you're right for this job, so we want you to come in and do a week for free. Can you imagine anyone asking that? Or going to a hairdresser and saying, I want to make sure that you're the right hairdresser for me. So could you just cut my hair for free this time and we'll see if it works out? No, that is not the right way. But there are three times that I actually think it's worth considering it. So the first one is if you within your business plan have some pro bono or volunteer hours where you're going to be offering some of your services, a limited number for different causes and things like that. Now, the first thing I would say is don't assume charities don't have the funding for your services. So if you're offering those services because you just assume that they can't afford it, then maybe you shouldn't be working for free. But if you want to be volunteering and offering your services from a volunteering point of view, then I think that's okay. That's you in control as long as you make sure you're very clear on boundaries, how many hours you'll do for them or how much work. Um, and yeah, make it very clear where the boundaries are of that. So the second one is PR. So, for example, PR can be anything from being on someone's podcast, writing maybe something for blog post for somebody, but for, say, a very big brand. Although I will say, actually, saying that, I'll take that back. You should not be blogging if you're a blogger for free, but you can write an article for newspapers and magazines and things like that. Sometimes you can do that for free if you know you're going to get a really good PR advantage. I think the key thing with the PR side is that you're not offering your services for free. You are perhaps talking about your services or talking about your area of expertise for free. But even in the past, I might have said like speaking engagements. Um, some of the smaller local ones are sometimes worth doing for free, like at networking events and things like that. But if you're going to be a professional speaker and that is your role, then you should be being paid for that. So if you're going to speak at big events, and they definitely have the budget. Um, so it's kind of weighing up whether it's PR and you're talking about your topic, but you're not giving away your services for free, or whether it's um, yeah, the opposite, where you're actually giving your services away for free, you're giving away free advice, or you're actually offering your services for free, which I've said a lot of times there, right? And summits and bundles kind of fall into this as well. I would say that falls into PR and marketing. So offering something that you offer for free, but in a way that you know you're going to get a real benefit from growing your list and things like that. Sometimes there's a benefit there. But anyone that approaches you and says, um, we've got this project, we want you to do it with like your services, what you offer, for free in exchange for exposure. No, no, that's not a form of payment. Exposure generally should be something that works well both ways. And the third one is professional development. And this is another one where there's grey areas. But if I see, for example, a role that comes up, a freelance role, and I can see there's lots of things there that I've got the skill set, but maybe there's one area that I don't have that kind of skill set, I might take it upon myself to learn that, whether it's a piece of software or something like that, because I know it will improve my general freelance skill set, which makes me a more valuable freelancer. That said, if I'm working with a client and they turn around and say, "Oh, I want you to have this skill set, or I want you to do this software," I wouldn't expect to learn it for free. And I had this where when I brought people on board, if I'm using a tool and I recommend it to them, I want them to invoice me for the time that it takes for them to learn it because they're using something that I have recommended and I would prefer them to use because it's part of my team. So I think if it's learning something that will improve you from a professional point of view, but you're not being expected to do it, I think it can be worth doing. But if it's something a client, you're already on board with them and they ask you to do it, then you should be being paid for the hours that you're learning it. So again, it's one where there's a bit of a grey area, but it's worth weighing up the pros and cons and just making sure. Like if they're asking you to learn a tool that you know you won't use with anyone else, there's no point you doing that for free. Don't volunteer your free time to do that, because it's not going to help you in the long run. So maybe it's worth weighing up short term, long term, what would work best. So those are some of the 3 times where you may want to work for free. But generally, you shouldn't have to work for free. And I use the example of things like hairdressers and plumbers because they're the kind of the most tangible examples, and people would never ask someone to come in and can you fix my toilet as a trial, and then if I like that, you can do the rest. Or the hairdresser, could you dye my hair and I'll see if I'm happy with it, and then we work with you some more. People seem to think that if you work in the creative industry, that it's fine for you to work for free. But it's not. It's your time, and you deserve to charge for that time. I would love to know if there are any other times you think it's okay to work for free, or if you've had any experiences of being asked to work for free. Do leave a comment, or come join us in the Facebook group, The Freelance Lifestylers. Additionally, if you have dealt with this, or you've got someone who is asking for this, and I'm thinking spec work, but also friends and family expecting you to work for free, or the exposure excuse. I have some templates that will help you really respond to them in a way that is assertive but not aggressive. So it's called the Tricky Clients Bundle. It's got email templates for everything from raising your prices, dealing with brain pickers and um, people who are wanting you to work for free, people who are not respecting your boundaries, lots and lots, and chasing payments, everything in there. So I'll pop the details of that in the description as well. I hope you have a wonderful freelance week.